Good morning to you, Kentuckiana. It is 6 a.m. here on your Monday, and we are taking a live look out over downtown Louisville from our photojournalist, Emma Gefter. She's up on the Big Four Bridge this morning as we get a kickoff to our week. We are looking forward to it. We are glad you are joining us as we say good morning to you, Kentuckiana. I'm Grace McKenna.
And I'm Jim Stratman. Thanks for joining us on WHAS11 and WHAS11 Plus for what is going to be another at least hot start to the week.
Ooh,
but
sure is.
Matt Breland is joining us with some good news coming a little bit later on. Matt?
Later on, that's right, Jim. I have brought a forecast that includes better temperatures later into the week, but we do have to get through this extreme heat once again before we get to the better side of the week. Temperatures are going to be ranging into the mid-90s this afternoon, but feeling like the triple digits, just as we had later on into the evening time. A heat advisory in place across all of Kentuckiana until 8 p.m. on Wednesday. So this extreme heat is still going to be continuing just as we head later on into the day. But here's a look across downtown. We're waiting on sunrise to happen this morning. Temperatures already into the upper 70s, winds staying calm. A few of those passing clouds in our skies. Temperatures for the rest of us ranging into the mid to lower 70s, 75 Hodgenville, 77 Louisville, 74 for you folks near Seymour, Indiana. Notice that we're staying mostly quiet so far this morning, but I do want to bring to your attention some clusters of showers and storms starting to develop into northern Missouri and also into portions of northern Illinois. These storms are likely going to make their way closer into Kentuckiana as we head into our evening time. So as of right now, we're seeing those clouds beginning to break apart. We've got a lot of sunshine ahead for the next upcoming hours and throughout most of the afternoon. But past 5 p.m., that's whenever those clusters of showers and storms will likely be developing across southern Indiana and passing through Kentuckiana throughout the start of our evening, and they'll be dissipating out just as we head into the beginning of the night. So we're in for a few thunderstorms into this evening, bringing in some brief periods of some heavy rainfall and some frequent lightning associated with those as well. We'll have all the details about that full forecast, including the better temperature pattern, which we're expecting for the weekend, here in just a few short minutes. But here's a quick check of traffic this morning. So far, we're moving along just fine. We're not seeing any holdups or slowdowns on any of our interstates across Louisville Metro. If we see anything that's slowing us down, we'll let you know. Grace, Jim.
Thank you very much, Matt. Well, rallying for change. Employees from the Louisville SK plant and the massive battery plant down in Hardin County have rallied for a fair contract. They did that on Saturday alongside some Kentucky politicians.
The rally comes as Trump administration budget cuts threaten to remove some jobs from the auto and battery industries in Kentucky. WHAS11's Clarice Shaley heard what employees say they want.
Union! Union!
At a labor union in Louisville.
This is a union town. This street's moved by union workers.
Blue Oval SK workers find support from a city built on union workers.
It's been a tough battle. I want to be able to sit down and have my say with Blue Oval and help them and us together succeed in a long future.
Workers of the massive battery plant developing in Glendale, Kentucky join union advocates miles north in Louisville, garnering support as they work to form their own union. The nearly complete electric battery plant, Blue Oval SK or BOSC, has at least 800 employees. Officials with the union say a reported supermajority of workers want to join a union. After months of pushing, those employees have received the okay to hold an election and enter the bargaining stage.
Next time you see me, we will be in negotiations.
BOSC workers are asking for improved safety, affordable health care, and job security.
There's some hazardous chemicals we work with. It took a while to get proper PPE.
Workers claim they've been harassed for wanting to unionize.
We get wrote up if we're talking about the union.
And shown anti-union ads.
My second day in training, I didn't know what day I was supposed to come back. I didn't know what time I was leaving. I didn't know what lunch was. But they managed to find time to throw in an anti-union presentation.
Multiple politicians showed their support for their cause.
We know what a union does. It's not just workers' rights, it's workers' guarantees.
Including Governor Andy Beshear, who supported their efforts from the beginning.
Listen, being pro-union, it creates jobs. It creates opportunities.
We've been fighting this whole time, and we're not going to stop.
Fighting for a union in a plant expected to bring 5,000 more jobs to Kentucky. Off Preston Highway, Clarice Shaley, WHAS 11 on your side.
In a statement shared with WHAS11, a spokesperson for Blue Oval SK said, in part, our team members have endured months of union sales tactics and slanders against their exciting jobs and proud accomplishments. They are ready for their voices to be heard now. It goes on to say the UAW's efforts to prevent them from getting a secret ballot vote now demonstrates the union only wants to control, not listen, to the Blue Oval SK team members building a new future for themselves, their families, and their community at Kentucky One.
Kentucky State Police are investigating a two-vehicle crash that killed 3 people, including a baby, in Breckinridge County. Troopers responded to that crash on Saturday shortly after 5 p.m. on Kentucky 261. Officers say that 48-year-old Joseph Maynard was driving south when he crossed the center line and hit another vehicle head-on. Police say this caused Maynard's car to go up in flames and he died at the scene. The driver of the other vehicle, 22-year-old Hunter Lyons, and a 1-year-old child died at the scene. Another passenger in Lyons' car was taken to the hospital with injuries, but is expected to survive.
Meanwhile, Metro Police are investigating after a pedestrian was seriously injured when he was hit by 2 cars. It happened late Saturday night on Shelbyville Road in the Douglas Hills neighborhood. Metro Police say a man was crossing the road when he was hit by a car driving on Shelbyville. The driver stopped and stayed with the man. Metro Police say witnesses attempted to help when a second vehicle hit the man again. That driver stopped too. The man was taken to University Hospital with critical injuries. And Metro Police are also looking into 2 domestic violence shootings. The first happened shortly before 2 Sunday morning in the Phoenix Hill neighborhood. When officers arrived at the intersection of East Madison and South Shelby, they found a house hit by gunshots. University Hospital later told police 2 adults showed up at the hospital with gunshot wounds. Police say the man and woman are related and got into an altercation, leading to them being shot. Both are expected to survive. Then, in a separate incident, police have arrested a Louisville woman in connection to the shooting of another man. Metro Police say 34-year-old Raven Simone Turks shot him around 5 Sunday morning near West Broadway and South 23rd Street. Officers say the 2 got into a fight, which ended in shots fired. The man was taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. Turks is charged with domestic violence assault and is expected in court this morning at 9 for an arraignment.
Looking ahead now, some Kentuckiana students head back to the classrooms this week. Tomorrow, Silver Creek School Corporation heads back, while New Albany Floyd County Consolidated Schools heads back on Wednesday, and Greater Clark rounds out the week by heading back to class on Thursday. We'll have much more in-depth looks at each of these districts all week long as we kick off back-to-school season here on GMK. The first in a series of public forums with the new JCPS Superintendent Dr. Brian Yearwood is happening tonight. The goal here is to create open conversations between the district and the community. People will be able to ask questions, share their perspectives, gain a deeper understanding as well of the superintendent's mission and vision for JCPS. There are going to be more of these over the next few weeks and months. Tonight's event, though, begins at Seneca High School from 5:30 to 7. All of these events are free and open to the public. And
while we're talking about school, it is almost that time once again. We want to see your first day photos. You can text them to the number on your screen. It's 502-582-7290. You just might be featured right here on GMK.
It is 6:09 and you're taking a look from our Trimark cameras at I-65 north and southbound just past the Kennedy Bridge. You can see some cones off to the side on the far left of your screen. That is the southbound side that has been closed all weekend long. Crews are out there replacing expansion joints at Hospital Curve to improve safety, try to stop recurring potholes on the road. Crews also added an epoxy substance to that road to try to add some traction and reduce the number of crashes we've seen in that area. Now, all those lanes were supposed to reopen this morning at 5 a.m. We're going to be watching that to make sure that the traffic is flowing nicely through that stretch here as we get into rush hour. But